The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation or Stewart Title. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Knapik from Stewart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Knapik.
And welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik, hosting the show after Hurricane Harvey. So glad you joined us. So whether you're listening anywhere in Southeast Texas, Houston, Texas, the Woodlands, Galveston, Dana Point, California, anywhere else, we're glad you tuned into the show. We have some great guests today, and our first guest is very notable. He's going to give us some words of encouragement. His name is, and we're going to hear his story too, his name is Chad Hedrick. He is the fastest man on skates. He is the first man in history to skate 1,000 meters, which is 6.21 miles, in under 13 minutes. He is the holder of 5 medals, a gold medal, 2 silver medals, and a bronze medal for men's speed skating. And he's also in the real estate profession. His tagline, check this out, is "From gold to sold." Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Hedrick with Heritage Texas Property. Chad, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks. How you guys doing over there today?
We're doing good. I hope I got that all right. We're so excited to have you. And, of course, you just recently spoke at a sales meeting at Stewart Title to encourage us there, even before the hurricane. So, first of all, Chad, let's tell people about how you got into skating to begin with and your accomplishments.
Well, first off, let me just talk. I mean, we're going through a tough time here in Houston, and it's such a difficult time for us all. And I just wanted to encourage people. You know, we're seeing so much out there right now. Everybody's trying to help. I've never been more proud to be a Houstonian with people coming together. Everybody's going through trials in their life right now, but this is our chance to come together and unify and overcome these obstacles. Whether your house is flooded or your house was relieved of this occurrence here, we all need to come together, help each other, and provide for each other, and show everybody around the world what Texas is all about. So first of all, I just wanted to start off with that. But yeah, I grew up here in Spring, Texas, and man, my dad owned a roller rink, and I learned how to walk on a pair of roller skates when I was 15 months old. So I grew up. I was the rink rat. Speed skating to all the rock music that they used to play at the roller rink back in the 80s, and just had a knack for skating from a real young age and never knew where it would take me, but it ended up taking me to the top of the podium for Team USA in ice speed skating in the 2006 Winter Olympics in Torino, Italy. So what a pleasure that was, and what an honor that was to represent the country, and man, just the time of my life.
It's very exciting. And any endeavor, certainly to reach the pinnacle of any kind of sport or thing like skating or anything else that's involved in the Olympics, it takes so much endurance, it takes goal setting, and you have to be at it all the time. And there are pitfalls along the way, just like in life. Give us a word on, from a success standpoint, Chad, some of the principles that you used as that young guy on skates to reach the highest level of skating.
Well, when I think of that, automatically I think of the times where, you know, when I was training and I could have skipped practice. But the mentality that I had was, if I skip practice, that could be the difference between gold and silver. And while others that I'm competing against are not skipping out and are doing the small things every day that it takes to be a champion, those are the things that I need to do if I want to be the best at what I do. And I carry that on in my new life here in real estate here in Houston. And it's been just such a great, simple thing to think about each day I wake up in order to be the best at what I'm doing in my new profession.
And I like what you just said. That is exactly right. Whether we're selling real estate, in any sport or any other business endeavor, it is those small things that must be done. And let me just back up 1 second. When I think about ice skating, that played a pivotal role in my life. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and we would skate at the roller rink, and that's the first time I held a girl's hand. I don't know what age it was, but it was a thrilling experience. I never became a great skater, but it sure was a great social experience for us people up north there in Pennsylvania. It was fun. Anyway, tell us about the transition to real estate, Chad.
Well, first of all, there wasn't college speed skating, so in order to be a speed skater, I had to forego college and chase that gold medal. With that being said, I learned a lot of qualities, but I also have had some obstacles and really had to overcome a lot of things. You know, you come from being the best in the world at something and then moving into business where you don't have any formal structure as to what a business looks like. All you know is that you want to outwork everybody and you want to win more than everybody, and you have to utilize those skills, but you also have to diversify your skill set from a business perspective. So that's been tough for me to overcome, but I feel like I'm heading in the right direction and just doing some really, really good things. I think each day, like I said, I just wake up and I look at every client experience as another day of training, you know, doing the little things, warming up, putting in the time, getting the treatment that I need to be good the next day, and taking care of my body. All those things are things that I have to take into the real estate world, whether it's doing CMAs, market analysis, preparing for showings, and knowing exactly what the difference is between each home that I'm showing, and obviously doing everything along the process to get them to the closing table in an efficient manner and make them feel like it was a great experience and one that didn't take a lot of effort on their part. And, you know, buying a home should be an enjoyable experience. It shouldn't be one that you feel like you're pulling teeth. And we try to do that from Gold to Sold. And, you know, we're a small team right now that hasn't been in the business a very long time, but I feel like we do a great job, and a lot of people trust us and know that when they choose me as their advisor, that I'm going to step up to the starting line and I'm going to give everything I have for them to have a great experience, to find the lifestyle that they want and the home that they desire.
And Chad, as we progress along, let's tell people the coordinates in case they want to reach out to you.
Yeah, you can go. My email address is chad@fromgoldtosold.com. I've been in real estate for just under a year. It's been just a wonderful experience, one that a passion that, to be quite honest, after skating, I had some obstacles, and I really didn't know if I'd ever find a passion again. And it was some tough times that I experienced in my life. And now that I'm back in real estate and started a new career, I find that the social skills that I've developed traveling around the world and, you know, my interest in real estate all together, man, it just makes for a perfect opportunity for me to go out and to really set goals for myself and, more than anything, just help people and come home fulfilled each day with the experiences that I have and the client interactions.
And we're talking with Chad Hedrick, winner of the gold medal for speed skating. And also, Chad, going back a little bit, when we were talking about things that motivate us, sometimes it's winning that will motivate people. But I heard another realtor say where it's not so much the winning, but it's the fear of losing. So what is it that motivates you along the way to be successful in the speed skating as you've been and now in real estate?
Well, as you know, real estate's a very, very competitive business. There's a lot of people out there that are getting their license, and there's a lot of stats about, after a year, 90% of the agents are no longer agents. And when people think it's such an easy business to operate, but they're not really seeing everything that's involved. And I was probably one of them at the beginning, but I've taken everything into account here and understood what I need to do to be my best in this business and how I can use my skill set. But I think waking up, I just have this vision of stepping to the starting line each day, and it's it's something that I want to be victorious. And when I'm victorious, my clients are victorious, and everything works out for the greater good. And it's been awesome. I feel like it's everybody that I have that I work with, they become teammates of mine, and we try to accomplish the goal at hand. And man, it's been a great experience so far, and I've been rather successful. So I'm super pumped about the future and where we go. I look forward to having the chance to build a team underneath me and encourage people that don't really know what the next step in their career is, and being able to inspire them through my road, through my humility, through my encouragement, through my success, all of those things to just really give back to the youngsters that are coming behind me. So I look forward to that day and look forward to being able to compete with them as well.
And Chad, what you said there about when you are victorious, so is your client. That's a great quote. I've not heard that before, but that just makes sense. Let's tell people also, just turn the clock back before the hurricane. You're in real estate under a year. You're being very successful. You're using the core principles of success that made you a great skater. However, let's tell people about your impression of real estate as you got into it a little bit and how you got successful. Then also, how are you seeing, it's shortly after the hurricane, what kind of things are you seeing in the marketplace from your perspective right now that the hurricane's affected in real estate?
Well, as you know, there's so much to know about real estate, and I guess, I put my head down and read article after article. We're talking about those little things, just understanding what the market's doing in the Woodlands and Houston and Galveston, and really diversifying my offering as a real estate agent. I want people to ask me, of a certain area, and I want to be familiar with it. So all those little things that I invest in to become a diversified advisor. Right now, we're going through some turmoil, as you know. Nobody really knows. We can look at the crystal ball, but we really don't know which direction we're going. I see a lot of opportunities for investors to come in and scoop up properties from people who have flooded homes, and a lot of potential for people to walk away from their homes if insurance needs, and they're not given the resources from the insurance companies that are needed. I see a lot of opportunity for investors there, but I also see a hike in the market value of the dry homes, the ones that didn't get flooded. And I think that's what we're seeing right now is sort of a lot of people putting their homes on the market right now to try to take advantage of the need that's out there right now. Those people that can afford to pay to repair their homes themselves that flooded, or the ones that can just walk away from their homes and just find a new place to live because they don't want to be in a mold-infested home, or they don't want to go through the process. So whatever that looks like, those things are going to be transforming over the next 6 months or so, 3 to 6 months, I'd say. And man, it's just a lot to swallow at this point. But who knows exactly what's going to happen? I'm talking right now to a lot of investors that are ready to jump on properties and ready to take on the risk of these properties that were flooded, because they feel like what we went through is a once in a lifetime thing, and more than likely that could be the case, and they want to be able to take advantage of it and see what happens. And
we certainly hope so. Let's do two more things that we'll touch upon, Chad, and that is one of the things that helped you win the gold medal. That is, it is said that you devised a unique technique called the double push. So let's tell people about the double push. And is there a double push analogy in real estate that you're going to also innovate for not just yourself, but any other realtor that you'll share that with? The double push.
Well, so the double push was just a technique that I used that was sort of a God-given natural technique that I used to skate, and it became sort of the standard for all high-level, world-class skaters, and there were videos and stuff made of my style and everything. But I think more than anything, it was my work ethic, and that's what I try to bring from skating into the real estate world. I feel like I learned something else from speed skating. You know, there's 5 different distances in my sport, and we didn't train for every distance. We trained for a specific distance. And I'm really focused on my business becoming a niche business, something where I'm just not your normal real estate agent that comes and shows you houses and puts them on the MLS, but somebody who specializes in a special niche in the market to become, a something a little bit outside the box. And it reminds me of, I trained for 5,000 and 10,000 meters. Those were my 2 races, and I'm establishing in my business what those distances are at this point, so I can represent and advise people when making decisions on their properties and their lifestyle moving forward. So that's really what I'm trying to do, is to be different and to really focus and not not spread myself too thin, and really, really focus on the things and become an expert, not just an agent.
And also, let's tell people from your perspective in real estate and anything else, and even for your family life, the value of being physically fit, and also the value of having the right mindset, being mentally fit to do what we do every day, to enjoy the victories, but also to handle the challenges that life throws at us. Tell us about how you feel about that.
Well, I think being physically fit helps your mental approach each day. I know I've been both physically fit and a little bit lazy at times, I hate to admit, but I think you wake up and you're in a different frame of mind. You're in a healthy, just a healthy place in your life to really go and be energetic and put the effort that's needed into all aspects of your life. And I've been on both sides of the equation, and it's nice to wake up and be active and just be ready to attack what the world brings at you that day. And I also find that it just helps my mood altogether. If I am being a little lazy, I realize that I'm a little more moody because I'm not doing what I need to do to start my day correctly, and that's been something that I've really had to focus on as well.
And Chad, you live in the Woodlands, is that correct?
Yeah, I live just north of the Woodlands in a place called Wood Forest. It's a golf course community just north of the Woodlands, but I work all over Houston. I'm driving to Galveston as we speak here today to visit a client, but I like people to know that I'm a Houstonian. I was born and raised here. Whether I was a Winter Olympian or not, I am a Houstonian. I'm proud of Houston. I'm proud to be a Texan, and I'm proud to know and learn each day about the real estate opportunities across the city.
And they are unfolding. Even without this disaster, they would be unfolding, but it's going to be very, very interesting as we're talking about. And with the last couple minutes, Chad, what else would you like people to know about your real estate profession? Let's tell them how they can reach you, and also hit us with a few more words of encouragement for some people that really are having difficult times. Give us a word of encouragement again, please.
Yeah, number one, you can get in touch with me, Chad, at FromGoldToSold.com. My number's 281-832-1033. My team would love to help you. We are open to any opportunities across the city. Also, just want you guys to know that I'm praying for each and every one of you. I know this is just a life-changing moment for many people across the city, and we can decide if we want to quit or we can decide if we want to prevail. I know there's so many big hearts out there that are wanting to provide for you guys, and I just want you guys to know that, all this has happened. Let's all work together. Let's overcome it. There's going to be so many people out there that are ready to help, and I think it needs to be something. If your house didn't flood, use that energy and use that time that you have to reach out to a neighbor, to a friend, to a relative to make a difference. And man, I want to encourage you to do that. It's more important than ever, and we're praying for each and every one of you out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Hedrick. And once again, Chad, let's tell people how they can reach out to you.
Yep, 281-832-1033. Let's help me go from gold to sold.
Gold to sold. Ladies and gentlemen, he is with Heritage Texas Property, winner of the gold medal in speed skating, Chad Hedrick. Chad, thank you for being on the show. And we're going to take a short break and come right back with even more. Stay with us. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Stewart Title has been serving Texas for over 120 years. A Texas treasure, Stewart Title's longevity is a testimony to superior service, innovation, and knowing what their customers want. Recent surveys show that 92% of respondents want secure online tracking tools to help them during the closing process. Stewart Title offers the most robust and secure system to track transactions online available today. To learn more, contact Stewart Title at one of their many offices around the city. Stewart Title, online at stewart.com. That's STEWART.com.
Raindrops are falling on my head.
And welcome back, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Bill Knapik, your host. What a great interview with Mr. Chad Hedrick. And now, if you listen to this show and listen to this station every Saturday and just keep the dial set on 100.7 FM previous to this show, you probably have already heard the Real Estate Rat Pack, which comes on every Saturday at 9 on 100.7 FM. And guess who we have here today? We have the godfather of real estate, Rob Cook, and the maestro of mortgage, Chris Kelso, both from the Real Estate Rat Pack and founding members of that radio show. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Bill. We appreciate it. And raindrops are not falling on my head right now.
Right now, it's actually beautiful.
Yes,
yeah.
but it's a beautiful day. But anyways, yeah, it's one of those great opportunities to be here and speak with you today. And how are you doing, by the way?
Well, I'm unfortunately, had both my home and car flooded, and as we progress each day, it's been incredible. The people that have emerged, and in fact, Chris Kelso, you are one of them that took your monster Fairway mortgage truck and helped me out on a very difficult day where I could grab belongings and sustain life. So people like you have helped me all along the way, and it's interesting how people emerge just at the time of need. So I'm very blessed. I'm working through, and each day I'm getting a step closer to normal, although
Right.
It might be a couple months. But anyway, I'm working towards it. But
Well, everybody who knows you knows you're never going to be normal. But
That is
you know,
true.
yes.
All right.
But you know, one of the things it's actually interesting. Rob and I were talking about this. You know, I put this little blurb on Facebook the other day, and basically is, you know, the bottom line is I've never seen Houston or a state or a city or a town or a country come together as what we have done here in Houston. I am so proud to be a Houstonian, so proud to live in this town. I don't care what color, race, creed, religion, sex you are. This town has all stepped up. They've all stepped forward. They have truly built a community. And the one thing I would like to see going forward is that we don't lose that. You know, the storm brought something absolutely bad, which was the rain, the suffering, the devastation, you know, a lot of the stuff. But what it left us behind in community and in friendships is going to far exceed what it did when it came to town. So,
And Chris doesn't like to brag about himself a lot, but he spent 6 days doing what he did for you, for
That's
other
right.
people. That big truck actually paid off in spades. Everybody knows his big green truck and now his big Patriots truck, going around and delivering supplies to churches, getting people, including me, who is my house didn't flood, but my street is still flooded to this day. I cannot go north on Wilcrest at all, and so I'm real proud of Chris, what he did. He spent a lot of time, and we did a project together on Sunday. Worked at a distribution center, and then helped somebody out in Rolling Oaks whose house flooded. He was pulling up sheetrock, I was pulling up baseboard.
it was a lot of fun. It was a very physical manual labor, and you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything. It was a great day.
Well, there are people listening to this show because you drive a lot anyway, Chris.
Right.
And they have seen the Fairway Mortgage truck. It is a big truck, and your heart is bigger than the truck, I got to tell you. And I've never ridden around in a truck so high off the ground and so comfortable, by the way, but it was great. And you've used that since day one to help people. So my hat's off to you. But let's tell people from the mortgage perspective, Chris, as you're out there, I mean, deals were in the works for a lot of people, and even at Stewart Title, at the title company, there's some deals that are falling out. But what are you seeing as that's going to happen, say, from the money perspective, if anything, from this, and what's your observations?
It's a very good question because we've had a lot of people ask a lot of those questions. I actually think long term, our real estate market's going to get stronger off of this. And the reason why is the following. There was a lot of individuals that lost a lot. They lost their homes through flooding. Some of them had to back out of contracts. Some of them couldn't buy their homes because their homes they were buying were flooded. Some of them are still in the waiting period right now to find out what's going on in regards to insurance, in regards to those claims, so they really can't make a move. And so we're seeing some of those things happen, right? So we're still waiting for all that mechanism to sort of go in place. But the one thing I will say is financing is still out there. There's still tons of financing as far as if you're looking at buying a home that didn't flood, that didn't go, it was high and dry is I think the key word everyone's putting on HAR right now. Those homes are still going to sell. There's still people out there. There's still people moving to Houston. There's still a lot of activity going on. So from that perspective, no change. On the other side of things, where I think it's going to be really interesting, is we're going to have a lot of individuals, such as individuals who did not have flood insurance, who now have to figure out a way to pay if they can't get government assistance for some of the repairs. And there's a lot of mortgages that are available out there that people have, that's always been out there, people just haven't known about. We're going to start off talking really fast about something called a 203H program. And that is actually a FHA loan that is for presidentially declared disaster areas, where you can buy, it's for purchase only, primary residency, but you can buy a property in a presidentially declared disaster area and have zero money down. So that's a great product.
Okay, let's repeat that then. That is called a what? 203?
It's called a 203H.
For Houston.
It's an FHA product.
It's an FHA product. That is correct.
Very interesting.
So, and then you also have products out there that have been out there for a long time, and a lot of your rehabbers have known these, which are rehabilitation loans, which are loans such as your Fannie Mae products, your FHA products, your 203Ks, and those are where you can actually go into a home and finance the repairs of a property into your loan. Okay. Now, if you have a home that you need to finance repairs into and it's not going to appraise for it, then that's a little bit of a different deal. But let's assume that you had a little bit of equity in your property and you need to refinance that property to finance the repairs because you went through flooding and you had some changes that you made and insurance is not covering it for you. You do have some products on both the Fannie Mae side and the FHA side which will allow you to finance those repairs into your mortgage so that you're not out of pocket all that money to be able to replace some of those items that you just got through losing in your home. So there are plenty of options out there, and those your home style products, your 203K and your 203KSs, those have been in the market for a long time. Those haven't gone anywhere, and actually the best time to be used is right now when a lot of people are going through this because it's estimated, and excuse my numbers, but I know we have insurance here, that about 80% of Houston was not covered in flood insurance.
Wow.
About 80%. Now, it started off at 70% earlier in the week, and then somebody told me it was 85%, and so the last number I actually heard is about 80% of Houston was not covered through flood insurance. So if we look at that number, there's going to be a lot of people, unfortunately, they're going to be searching for ways to repair their properties, and there are financing options out there. Now, that's not to say don't check and see what's going on, obviously, with the government. Don't check and see, check and see what's going out there in that federally assisted programs, especially what's going on as far as the vote in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But what you do need to know is that there are options if you can't access some of that money. There are options available for you to finance some of those repairs into your mortgage, and then obviously continue to move forward.
And Chris, let's tell people how people can reach you as well.
You can always reach me at 713-256-9138. That's 713-256-9138. Or you can go online and catch me anywhere online. It's FairwayKelsogroup.com. Fairway is in Fairway. Fairway Kelso, Kelso group.com. And you can access us there, and we'll give you any information you need.
And you have locations all over the city.
We have locations all over the city. We cover 7 office locations. One of ours, just like you talked about, Bill, one of ours was damaged. And so we're in the process of rebuilding that location up in the Kingwood area, but we're going to come back strong as we talked about ever before. But, it's nothing new. We're going through that right now, and just like a lot of other people are, and it's still going to be a strong market.
Rebuilding and renewing are going to be words that we hear a lot about in my life and a lot of people. How about that, Rob? What do you think?
Resiliency. I think people don't understand how resilient Houston is because someone that says, why don't you move? I'm going, you don't understand Houstonians. We will rebuild. We will be better, and we'll be prepared for the next. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely will happen again. And I like the way you said to rebuild the things. The one thing that we're seeing is I haven't heard anyone saying, that's it, I'm done. I've had some people say, you know what, I was thinking about selling. Now's probably a good time because, as you mentioned, and Rob's a better one to talk about this, but we're going to see some anomalies in the marketplace. I think 4 years from now, when we look at the historical facts of real estate, you're going to look at the little anomaly that took place in 2017, just like we look at the anomalies that took place in every couple of years. Yeah. So.
Okay, so there's, let's say, 3 kinds of homes now in Houston: homes that have never flooded, homes that have flooded this time and before, then there's the home that never flooded until this time. So, Rob, when people think, let's say in any of those categories, well, let's take the flooded homes, for example, does someone sell a home that has flooded? What happens?
Well, while it's fresh in our memory, it's going to stigmatize a home that had been flooded. Fleetwood comes to mind because that's the one that's made the news the most. And it was fine Wednesday morning until they opened up the floodgates, literally. And that's the same thing with my area. I went through the storm without any issues, and then they opened up Addicks Dam, and then, of course, Memorial flooded and things like that. It will stigmatize those houses. It's very fresh in our memory. So for the shortcoming, I think those will be very difficult to sell. Because that's going to be the first question, I think, out of everybody's mouth. And, of course, I think you'll agree with me that
did your home flood?
What happened during the Harvey? And so for a while that can happen. People still ask, how'd you do in Ike? So all that is still going to be fresh in people's minds. But, here's the good news for the people whose homes weren't impacted by that is that they're going to be probably sought after more than the other ones. Because that, again, being the first question, did you flood? And they go, no, we were high and dry. And they go,
premium.
It's going to be I don't know if it's going to be a premium that's going to make it extraordinarily higher, but it's going to certainly make it a lot more sellable. And people want to feel safe. A lot of times, motivation in buying a home, safety is one of them.
It's big.
It's a huge piece, not only from crime, but from potential storms and flooding and things of that nature. So I wish I could give you a statistic as to how many homes are taken off the market due to flooding. But I'm going to try to get that from our MLS and see how many disappeared.
And, one thing I do want to make sure that we put out there, Rob, because you and I have spoken about this, is we have heard several cases of individuals having their homes that were already on the market for lease and or for purchase.
Like mine.
And what they do is they went up immediately. Hey, by the way, so now this home, instead of leasing it out for $1,700, I'm going to go to $2,500, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. For all those listening, let me tell you, if your home was worth $1,700 prior to, it's worth $1,700 today. Don't take advantage of the situation, right? We understand that there's going to be certain market anomalies that are going to take place. Now, I will tell you this, and Rob and I have spoken to this. If you're going to accept a normal lease at $1,700 over a 12-month period, and someone comes in and says, I want to lease it out for 6 months, well, then that's a reason to maybe move up the rent. That's a different deal. But we're seeing people advancing and going forward and saying 12 months leases now are this versus what they were before. Please, if you're listening out there, don't do that. If you have your home on the market, it still needs to stay on the market at the prices that you have it right there. Let the market determine it right there. Obviously, everything's negotiable, Rob.
Everything's negotiable.
That is one of the things that we've spoken about is, bad behavior does not need to be
there. And I do want to talk with people about bad behavior. We'll probably repeat it on Saturday's show. The
next 10 Saturdays.
The next, I'm sure for several Saturdays, is that there are people taking advantage. And then, yes, there are probably some sincere investors out there who will come in and make a fair market value. But what they're doing is they're coming in and offering 40% of value and then telling the people that you're not going to get any kind of settlement for insurance. And they're telling them, giving them a lot of misinformation. And so make sure that you talk with a reputable insurance person. We actually have one in the studio today.
And we're going to get to that.
We're gonna get to
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
That's a great segue for that piece. But get the facts. Get it from your insurance person, or find a good insurance person who can get you the information you need to have. It's just really sad to watch people try to be like they're vulture. That's what they are.
That is horrible to see how bad behavior in some really serious ways has emerged, but the good behavior certainly is outweighing it so far.
Yeah, and
So
our contracts are written in such a way. There is a date that you're supposed to close by, and if you don't close by that date, and there is no provision in case of bad weather. And so we've had actually somebody who was under contract, and they said we can't close because they had to get another inspection after the storm.
Yep.
And so they wouldn't let them close, and the seller said, "Well, I want more money, and I want a per diem until we can close." And I thought, but that's really,
is horrible.
That's just after the storm. And I thought, that's bad behavior.
All right, let's touch upon something here really quickly, and that is the realtor. Realtors will take listings that have flooded, I would think, and it's also the opportunity for people to be creative in marketing the home that has flooded. In fact, my home flooded. It was on the market 1 week. And one of my taglines is going to be "only flooded once," but it's still nice. I'm not sure. I'm sculpting that as we're talking.
That's a spin.
But here's the thing: it's funny. And it's not funny. It's kind of heartbreaking. But after it flooded, I had like 4 calls saying, "Hey, we want to see the listing." I'm like, "Well, maybe not right now." But I am rebuilding. But what are realtors going to do to handle these sell these?
Well,
flooded
it's going to
properties?
impact values to some degree. I can't give you a number as to what that will look like, but it's going to be the further we get away from the date of the storm and the flood, the better. People's, they think of it as a past event and not likely to occur again, because we had several situations where houses had never flooded over there.
26 years the home was there, and the whole neighborhood was
not
like that.
thought that area would flood, and so it was just an anomaly. Are we going to have another anomaly? I mean, we've got Irma right now, a Category 5, beating down on the
Florida.
Caribbean. Yeah. And so these are storms that we've never seen in the past, and we're starting to see some really spectacular, huge storms out there.
And we'll remind people, Rob Cook, Chris Kelso, the Real Estate Rat Pack, they can go to realestateratpack.com to hear previous shows, but also many tune in at 9 a.m. on 100.7 FM. Rob, how can people reach out to you if they just want to talk with you? Because you are the godfather of real estate with a wealth of knowledge about this whole area for many years.
You can always reach me on my cell phone. It's 281-543-0527.
One more time.
281-543-0527.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. And now a very important topic, insurance. We have Brittany, Tacquard, and Michelle Steffen with Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. We're glad to be here.
And also, right now, insurance is so important for people. A lot of people did not have flood insurance. A lot of people did. Some people thought they had it and they didn't. But first, Brittany, let's tell people know Stewart Title. Let's just remind them. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management helps people all the time with the basics of insurance, like flood insurance, like home insurance. Fortunately, I had flood insurance. My home flooded, and you guys did an incredible job. So let's remind people what you have to help them in their everyday life.
Well, thank you, Bill, and we're happy to help. I know that during this time is where agents can really prove their worth and really shine with our customers. So Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is a property and casualty insurance agency. So we're an insurance broker, meaning that we have several companies that we go to provide insurance for our customers. And we specialize in the real estate industry. Being owned by Stewart Title, it just makes sense, right? So we do lead in with home insurance for those home buyers who are going through home closings and homeowners. And then have the flood insurance, have wind policies, all of that stuff to make sure that you're properly insured. So while we lead in with home insurance, we want to look at you holistically and make sure that you are properly insured from all aspects.
And there's going to be a lot of people that didn't have flood insurance. Yes, there's a 30-day waiting period, but if they want flood insurance, let's tell them the phone number where they can call and get the information right now from you.
So the best phone number to call is to reach our team directly is 866-845-4676, and that is truly to get in contact with the person directly for our team.
One more time.
866-845-4676.
Excellent. Now, Michelle, as you are an insurance
sir.
expert, let's tell people some of the things that they should know about that you've been thinking about to help the listeners out there as it relates to this disaster.
Well, I think, the last factoid I read was that 17% of all of the flood losses are going to be covered. That means there's an immense amount of, uncovered people out there who unfortunately have suffered catastrophic losses due to flooding. So one of the biggest things that I would point out is that there are new privatized insurance markets coming into the marketplace that have privatized the flood product. So you don't necessarily have to go through the NFIP, which is the National Flood Insurance Program. Those privatized markets, you just said that there's a 30-day standard wait. With these privatized markets, most of them have removed that 30-day wait period, so it could be binding coverage that day if you give us a call. So it could be very quick. Right now there's some moratoriums, which means they're not binding coverage or issuing policies at all because there are hurricanes still out in the Gulf vicinity. But once those are gone, then we could potentially bind coverage for you the same day for a flood insurance policy, which to me is a huge benefit.
That is gigantic. So you're saying let's just advance the clock and say that these threats that are out there looming are gone and it's somewhat normal. Are you saying right now these privatized organizations, insurance companies are going to be offering that like soon, or is it down the road a few months?
No, we have quite a few that have already come into the marketplace, so we've got options already. Now, the NFIP, they were $25 billion in debt prior to this storm. So once all of those claims come through, we're likely to see, that debt increase. The privatized markets are strong. They are financially solvent. They have the money to pay claims. Some of the other benefits, loss of use is offered on these privatized flood policies, whereas with the NFIP, that's one thing people have to pay out of pocket. If they can't be in their home while the repairs are being made to the home, then if FEMA hasn't given them vouchers, then they have to pay out of pocket. And I want to note that those vouchers often are based on need. So they're looking at income and things like that in order to determine how much need there is before they warrant those vouchers. So I guess my point is with the loss of use coverage, that's something that's an added benefit.
That's brand new. In
with
fact,
the privacy.
That's one of the questions when my adjuster called me. I said, oh, yeah, what if I want to stay at a hotel? He says, you can, but it's not covered. So that
exactly.
is that. Now, here's another thought that comes to mind. Let's say there's people that have the regular flood insurance and they want to switch over to one of these privatized organizations. How does that sound?
It's not, because they're two separate programs. We could bind coverage fairly quickly with the privatized markets. The flood zones and the policy form and the mapping and all of those things that are very complicated about the flood program are very similar, but the process and the benefits of those policies are a little bit, I would say, more inclusive for the customer.
Indeed. And, of course, people can go to your number, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, at 866-845-4676. It's a lot of sixes. Oh, yeah, 866-845-4676. Or if you're driving, easy to remember, Stewart.com. That's the website where all these things are there. Also, what other observations do you have, Michelle, as you're there? You are an insurance aficionado, an insurance geek, and everything else. You live and breathe insurance even when you're sleeping. That's what Brittany told me.
You have no idea. I wake up some nights in cold sweats when I know that there's storms out there, only because I'm genuinely concerned for our customers. We want to make sure that they're covered properly when they come to us, and that's something that we certainly care a lot about. So
I think, real quick, Michelle, if you could kind of cover, after a disaster like this, sometimes the cause of the loss, especially in a hurricane, is unknown. So you have potentially a flood loss, potentially a wind damage. What should somebody do if they're unsure on who to go to?
If it's a coastal county, then they probably have Texas Windstorm Insurance, which is a government entity. If they're like Harris Fort Bend, where we were impacted here local in Houston, then they probably have a homeowner's insurance policy that covers windstorm. In either case, it's going to be up to the discretion of the adjuster to determine what the ultimate cause of loss is. And if that's in question, whether or not it was rising water that caused the damage or wind-driven rain that enters the home through holes in the roof or through the windows or whatnot. The best course of action would be to file a claim with both and let the adjusters work through those details. They have advanced ways to determine what the loss was and then which company should be responsible for which settlement amount. So I would say file a claim with both and let them work through it for you.
And Michelle, you mentioned adjusters. For example, that if someone has flood insurance, and I'm sure there's a waiting period, I know there is, at least for me, for the adjuster to get out there. But when the adjuster finally does get to your property, they're going to find a property, in most cases, that the drywall's been removed, the owner has done everything they could to mitigate the damage. So when the adjuster gets there, what are the things that you should ask the adjuster or talk with them, or what should your position be?
I mean, I think that the biggest point for me is that your policy reads that you're responsible for doing anything that's reasonable, that you consider reasonable to protect your property from further damage. So, to me, the pulling up the carpet and breaking away the baseboards and cutting the sheetrock, those are all reasonable ways to protect your property from further damage. So, I think that's the natural first step. What I would say is that you should reserve flooring. So reserve the carpet. Don't throw it away. Don't throw away anything until the adjuster has evaluated it. Make sure that you separate what can be salvaged from what cannot be salvaged, and again, make sure that the adjuster can review those belongings.
And also having photograph or
Tons of
videotape
photos.
Evidence for them so they can see. I know that Michelle said it to me a couple times is they need to see, it helps them to have that tangible to see what are you looking to replace. So having those photographs, having the video evidence either before or after the damage would be helpful for the adjuster. Right, Michelle?
I would say even on a home insurance policy, if we're crossing from flood to home, it doesn't matter. You walk through the home with everybody's got a video on their cell phones these days. Walk through your home. Save it to a hard drive, keep it somewhere off-site, and then, yes, exactly, photographic evidence. You want to make sure you have the model numbers for the televisions and the computer equipment and things like that. Keep receipts if you can. Unfortunately, it's when the adjuster arrives at the home, he has to start making some judgments on the value of these items, and you don't want to be in a position where it's getting undervalued and you're not able to recover fully. So to be prepared is the best method.
Michelle, I had a quick question. This is Rob Cook here. It's going around that what happened during the storm is treated one way under the NFIP, but what happened after the storm when they started letting water out of Barker's, the attic dam rather, that's going to be treated differently from the insurance perspective. Can you give some light on that?
The definition of flood is complete inundation of a normally dry land that impacts 2 or more acres or 2 properties or more. So it doesn't specify in the policy form anywhere that it has to be from rain, or it could be runoff, it could be snow melt, it could be dramatic rain. So in my mind, that absolutely doesn't come into play at all.
Okay, thanks.
That's a good point, but I'm also liking the idea of some snow, right? Boy, that's a whole different thing. Now, also, Brittany, what other things do we have for Michelle?
I mean, I think she's covered some pretty good topics, and I guess the main things that I would like to leave with is we have posted a blog of what to do after disaster. So Michelle's gone over a lot of these things. The first step is to identify the damage and notify your insurance companies. You definitely want to turn to the professional in these stages. So getting that information, even for preventing further damage, which is the second step, getting that information from your insurance agent is probably the best method. After that, preparing evidence and showing that for the adjuster, giving it to the insurance companies. And then that last step is just navigate throughout the claims process. Keep in contact with your insurance company. I think open communication is probably always the best method. Am I right, Michelle?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's great to know there are things on the Stewart.com website under Stewart Insurance and Risk Management that are there to help. And you continue to help people. And it is also a good time. It's always a great time for people to reach out to you and just evaluate your insurance needs along the year, regardless of disasters like this, because things always change. Yes, this is a disaster, but it is a good time for us and anybody out there to reevaluate. And if you don't have flood insurance, it's a good time to buy it. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's $450 a year for the maximum coverage limits, $450 a year. That's dollars per month. Call your agent, call us, call someone and make sure that you've got that coverage, because this storm wasn't supposed to happen in the sense that, it's a 1,000-year flood or whatnot. So it could happen again. We've seen it 3 years in a row now where there's been catastrophic flooding, so make sure you're protected.
Go ahead, Rob. You have something?
Well, I always tell anyone buying a home, and I tell agents to do this, always encourage people to get flood insurance if you're not, Houston's a flood zone, period.
The whole city.
And, of course, there's some actuary information out there that some are more inclined to flood and others, those are the ones that pay a higher premium. But if you are buying a home in Houston, get flood insurance.
It's just it's a reasonable cost. You should do it, yes.
Inexpensive to not to.
And as we close out, Rob, let's tell people how they can reach you. Rob Cook
at 281-543-0527.
And don't forget, every Saturday, and including this show, tune into the Real Estate Rat Pack at 9 o'clock at 100.7 FM. Michelle, any last closing thought?
It's been heartbreaking to be in this business the last 2 weeks. So I just want everybody to know that our hearts go out to them, and we continue to pray for a quick recovery, and that they have all they need to recover.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle, Steffen, Brittany, Tacquard with Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, there all year to help you along, led by Tom Carpentier, who leads the company in a magnificent way 24/7. Call them at 866-845-4676 to make sure you have the right insurance, 866-845-4676. And if you want to hear this show again, there's been a lot of facts brought forth today. Go to Stewart.com/Houston. You can hear this show. It'll be posted next week on Monday, Stewart.com/Houston. And we thank you so much for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. And for those out there, we wish you the best. We'll rebuild. We will be stronger. And God bless you. We'll be praying for each and every one of you. And until next week, Stewart.com/Houston. Thank you, Rob Cook, Chad Hedrick, Chris Kelso, Michelle Steffen, and Brittany Tacquard, and Sigmund Kramer. Thank you all so much. Until next week, we'll see you then.